guys, it's Jeff here, the photographer's mentor, and in this live broadcast I'm going to be joined by Martijn Brouns, who's from the Netherlands, from Amsterdam, and he is the co-founder and business adventurer who created Floop. Now, Floop is a 3D printing company, so they take your prints, your photographic prints, your images, and they turn them into 3D photo prints, so real proper 3D photo prints printed on a special type of photo paper. You don't have to have 3D glasses to see these, and the results are absolutely fantastic. It uses sort of AI to judge the depth in each individual image, and then it prints the depth onto this photo paper. Obviously, to me, I'm a bit lost when I try to explain it. Martin's best to explain this. I'm going to bring Martin in and we can talk about Floop, and then we've got some great examples to show. And we're also going to bring in world famous wildlife photographer Ranjan, who's just had a 3D photo booth printed from Floop. So you'll be able to see how he's using this to get his message out there and to promote his work. So 2 seconds, I'll just bring you over. And hi Martin, how's things going? You okay?
I'm okay. Hi Jeff, good to see you.
You as well. So how's things progressing with Floop since we last spoke? Because it's been about 18, 20 months since we last did a live like this. And I know this is how you first met Ranjan in the first place, because he'd actually tuned in to watch this, I think, on LinkedIn, and you'd been showing people how they can 3D their images through your website. So tell us a little bit about the technology and what's been going on since you last came on.
Okay, so yeah, well, as a startup, everything is, of course, a journey. So when we first spoke, we actually just launched the site as a beta site where people could order a 3D photo, but they couldn't see the 3D photo at that moment. So they had to order it. We made it 3D, and we posted it to them. And then when they got their package at home, that's where the moment they could see the 3D element in it. But of course, when you've never seen a 3D photo, you're like, okay, I order something, but I cannot see it on my screen. So yeah. What am I ordering? Is this a big hassle or a hustle? Which it wasn't, of course, because if you get your 3D photo, it's really cool. So since last time we spoke, we actually made a tool where you can now, on a flat screen, still see the 3D elements moving. So you get a bit of an idea as to what you're ordering, and I hope photographers will actually like it because they get a more of a feeling of what it is that we're doing. So that is what's
was one of the problems with the last lives we were doing, wasn't it? So we could, and I was lucky enough because I'd obviously sent you a couple of images that you'd printed up for me and sent them back over here into the UK of a great landscape shot with my dog in the foreground and the hills in the background, and it's tremendous. I've got it up in the office there, but you couldn't actually physically show people that over the live because the 2 dimensions of the screen loses that 3D effect.
Exactly. We're still very much in a 2D world when it comes to our screens. So and definitely if you're a photographer, everything that we do and is being made is 2D. But you're capturing a 3D world and you make it 2D. So actually, there's a bit of a lack of information when it comes to photographing and printing it. And of course, it has always been the case for the past 100 years that photography has been around. But due to our invention, we can now print that depth back into a 3D photo. And just to tell definitely people that haven't seen it yet a little bit more about the technology, it's what you do is you send us a photo. Our AI tries to calculate the most natural depth in the photo. So it recognizes all these elements in the photo, and within every pixel, it chooses if it's either in front, equal to the next pixel, or behind it. And that's how the image is being built back as a 3D image. And it knows if something is very near to the camera lens or very far, if it's out of focus or not. So everything helps us to understand the depth of it. And if you, for instance, I made this Christmas card of my son. It was, just sitting there with a Christmas tree. He just got from the woods with his axe. And he got this tree down, and we actually calculated the photo, and in it you have like the sand, where every piece of the sand is placed differently. And of course, if you're now looking at it, you cannot see the depth in it because I'm filming this with a single lens camera, so everything is still flat. But if I look at it, there's depth in it. There's the sand, there's the tree, there's my son in front of it. Even his curls have depth in it, and it's all really small depth in regards to that. You cannot really. It's not gigantuous, or how to say it, gigantic depth. No, it's subtle depth, but it is there, and that makes you look at the picture over and over again and explore the picture. And it goes for almost every photo that we get sent. We can calculate the depth in it, and it's really sweet to free the picture from its 2 dimensions and give it the space in the 3rd dimension, as to say.
So, and if anybody's watching here, if you can just let us know where you're watching from and what type of photography, so what type of photography you actually do. So, what has been your main uptake? Has it been landscape photographers or portrait? Is there any type of photography it doesn't work for?
Well, it works for all kinds of photography. So definitely landscape, portraits work perfectly because we have a focus point, so there's more depth around it. And when we did the live show before, I think I always said, like, there's 3 types of things we cannot do. Just studio photography with a white background. It's not that good because there's just no depth in the white background or the black background. And I'm still very much so. I get sent the photos sometimes, and I'm like, well, okay, yeah, well, there's a little bit of depth in the nose or in the face, but it's just not what you want it to be like with a full background. Then there's like really big group photos, like school photos where everybody is everywhere. Then the algorithm also doesn't work as great because it doesn't have a focus point, so there's no way for us to maneuver around on a single person or a small group of people where the background then the 3D then comes to life. So still that is still very much the case. But the 3rd thing that I always said wasn't possible is space photography, because we cannot calculate the real depth in space. But there was an artist in Belgium who sent me some space art he had made, and he was like, I'm really looking forward to see what it does. And I'm like, no, but we cannot do it. It's never accurate depth. And he's like, well, of course it's not accurate depth because stars are very far away from each other. So I understand that, but let's see what it can do. So we printed his space art, and it was mind blowing. It's actually really cool to see depth in space. Yeah. So although of course it's not accurate, but still the whole effect that you're going into space and that you can see into a wormhole, so it's mind blowing. So actually, there's now only 2 things we cannot do: groups and studio photography. Space, somehow we can do.
So like Curry's a wedding photographer, obviously a wedding photographer myself. That would be brilliant for the bride and groom in the foreground with the big castle or the stately home where they're getting married in the background. Lots of depth in there. And Michael is a travel photographer. So I mean, travel would be fantastic, not just for documentary travel photography, but also for like hotels and restaurants wanting to maybe showcase their facilities, their views and stuff like that. I think that would be fantastic.
Absolutely, it's all these types of photography, definitely wedding photography, and as gifts or as thank you cards or as a portrait in the hallway. It's brilliant because the thing with the Floop is because there's more information in the picture. Normally, your brain, within a second assesses what it is in the picture and you move on. But because with the Floop, there's just more to see. You automatically notice that people linger around a little bit more, and they have to see what's happening here. Then they get really into it. Then they step back a bit. They're like, oh wow, I can see the depth there and there and there. And even when I walk into a room and I know the Floops are there, I automatically go there with my eyes because there's just something to see. So it amazes me every time. Wedding photography and also for hotels and so on. Yeah, really awesome. And the other thing with it is Floops are like a really cool keepsake. I'm now noticing because people don't see it just as a picture or as something that they might throw away at a certain point. No, they keep it because it's valuable. So it's actually the photo itself becomes more valuable, or the whole thing around it becomes more valuable. They really keep it, which is also
Tell us
awesome.
a little bit about, because Kerry and Peter and Michael might not have seen this before. So you've got it's not printed on what we would have, as photographers think a normal, photo paper, like 200 and odd gram photo paper, high gloss. It's a special type of paper, isn't it? And it's a bit like those scratch cards you used to get in your boxes of cereal years ago.
Do you hear this, Jip? It's like me scratching the paper.
Can you hear that, guys? Can you
hear it? So it's like the little lenses that you had as a child with where the cards can move, right? So if I put like this, the card can actually move a bit. But if I use the lenses in a different way, I can actually see depth. And because we are using AI, we can print very precise on the lenses the right pieces of ink. It's still a lot of hard labor to get it exactly right, but then these kind of pictures, they are perfectly straight aligned. And normally when you had these old scratch cards, they might make you a bit dizzy. With this printing technology that we've perfected, it doesn't make you dizzy. It just gives you depth to see. And I think that's definitely innovation we brought to these old lenticular cards. They're called. Where we're really
is the actual print itself. So is it?
It's it's a little bit thicker than a photograph, but and it still has like a sort of a paper backing on it.
They're quite stiff and firm, aren't they? So they won't it won't bend or anything. I know that the one you've got me is just mounted straight onto the wall, isn't it, with one of those little hooks? So it's not actually framed; it's just put straight onto the wall.
Exactly, and of course we offer it as a service that we give it a backing if you'd like it, a hardboard or anything. It makes it more straight, but just the fact that a Floop can bend sometimes a bit is actually also cool, because just like your glasses, they're also a little bit more bent, so that it actually enhances your eyeballs as such. So there's all these things behind how to look at how we're using our eyes, that are also being used in this lens technology, and then being perfected by our technology again in optimizing your viewing experience. So yeah, that's there, but people still need to see it to believe it, and that was I think our real journey so far, is how to make something online where people can actually test out their photos and get a feeling of what it is that we're doing. And that's why we had Floop.com or floopphotography.com, but now we have Floot.it. So, and we're actually making it into a verb, like, okay, floop your photo, floop it. And make your photo 3D. And there's a free converter online on the Floop.it, where you can just upload a photo and push convert, floop it, and then within a few seconds you get a 3D render of the photo. And this you see, actually at that moment you see movement in it. I will show you in a bit, but you see some movement in the photo. That's not necessarily the movement that is in the print, but it's everything where you see movement, that is where the depth occurs. And I think that is really interesting about it. And you can download the GIF for free, or the MP4 for free on the site. So even for your socials, it's actually quite a cool tool to use.
So you can go on and upload a photograph now, and then see how it would appear as a Floop. If it's got that movement, it means it's got depth, and that's how it would be printed. And then you can download a free GIF as well, which you can use on your social. That's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And so oh wow, this is like a cool effect. Let me go here. You can see my screen, right?
Yeah. I'll just I'll move so we fill the screen completely. Yeah.
Yeah, so you had like add depth to your photo, and then you land on this beta site at Floop.it. Say, oh, okay, well, I want to try it, and let's see if I can find a cool photo here. So I had it's a little bit prepared already. So for instance, which one do we like? The one with the ocean cleanup. So I open it. It automatically starts uploading, and we wait for it. So this is a guy cleaning up the plastic on the beaches.
Great.
Floops are, by the way, made of recycled plastic, so this is actually even better for the story. So I said, I can now resize it, and I actually click Floop. So here we go. Now it's calculating. So it says here the process is starting. You see this thing coming up. It's not necessarily the best of styling as we wanted yet, but there he goes. So can you see it? Can you see it moving?
Yeah.
So within a few seconds, we have like a 3D image of this guy, and it's subtle, but it is there.
Yeah, and you can definitely see like one arm's further forward than the other. You can see the depth behind him. You can see the litter in front.
Yeah, and now the trick about it is that if you look at his arm, and behind it is his leg, right? So here's like a part of his leg.
Oh yeah.
And what you see is that the arm is sometimes more in front of his leg and sometimes a little bit less in front of his leg. And that's actually the depth that that we calculated there. That it recognizes in this photo that this is his arm and this is his leg, and that if you move your head slightly around it, you sometimes see a little bit more leg and sometimes a little bit more arm. So it feels very natural and definitely a very strong point for that we can really be very precise in the pixelation of this photo.
So the end print is a combination of all those movements into one. So the end print isn't a moving print. Obviously, you download a moving GIF as an example, but this is showing you all the different angles and all the different depth, which will be collated together as a final static print, not a moving thing like this. So it's not like those cards we used to get in the Pato Weetabix.
No, actually, very well put. Your eyes will within these photos that we've now rendered. Your eyes will then pick out two photos randomly that are behind the lenses, and they will then make it into a 3D in your brain. So that is where we need your brain for actually to see it with your two eyes the real depth. So it's quite a very complex situation here, but it does. I think these renders help tremendously people to understand that we can calculate depth in a photo and print it for them. And when you're in your room and you're looking from a different angle, there's still another angle that you're then seeing in regards to the depth that occurs for you. So that's where it really
Michael's
helps.
Michael's just said he's just done one with the boat through a wave. I don't know if you can put the actual picture of the boat, the flat picture of the boat, Michael, in the chat. I don't know if we'll see it on the live or not, but I think that's. And he says he's just done it. Wow, the effect is amazing. I will be buying some in due course. That's,
yes,
Michael.
cool.
And Michael's the guy who does the travel photography, travel and wave photography. So.
That's really cool, Michael, and thanks for trying it out. So the thing with it is sometimes the algorithm overcompensates. So if the boat worked well, great. I think I already tested this shoe, and I think it also will go very well. But sometimes a head might pop out a little bit more than you expected, or actually an ear starts to move a little bit further away in the corners. It's not that actually that is being seen then in the print, but it's just that is where the algorithm stops saying, okay, now it doesn't feel natural anymore. I'll stop here. And because it's only one frame behind the print, your brain will automatically compensate for it. So even for product photography, as we did here, the Nike shoe, I think this is a really cool one.
Yeah, you can definitely see the depth there, can't you?
It's really cool, right? So this actually now is for commercial reasons. I would definitely put this in a real retail shop somewhere for product photography. It's really it's really cool. When I tested this one out also for this live, so I was like, whoa, okay, maybe we need to approach Nike with this, or if there's product photographers out there, these kind of photos, really cool. There's so many cool things to do with it.
So Peter and Kerry, if you want to give it a go, head over to Floop.it, and then you just upload your photograph and give it a go. But I think that's absolutely fantastic. And as I say, I've had a couple. I know quite a few members of my private groups had a few Floop prints, and you also do Floop books, and you do other what sort of products do you do as as a
So we have like the books, postcards. We did during the holidays, posters, and we've got an art collection. So that is at the moment what we're doing on a regular basis. And when there's like really new stuff that comes along that we want to try out, or people have ideas for clients that they want us to work on, we're open for any kind of suggestion. So yeah, it's really about whatever people want. And let me also show you one more thing: is when you can download it, then you get the GIF.
Yep.
If you do, if you,
I mean, I think that what you've just said about getting the GIF. I mean, Curry's just said she's busy playing with it as she speaks. I mean, I think that would be a really good thing to do. You know, upload a picture of a bride and groom who've just been married. You know, like if they were married yesterday, you could put that on your Facebook page the next day, and that would be, you know, that would blow them away a bit, wouldn't it? It's going to be something different than what they're used to seeing. You know, you imagine they're probably going to be using them as screensavers for the mobile phones and stuff. Alan's just asked, how large can your prints go?
Well, we're very comfortable at the moment with A2 printing, but we had in a discussion yesterday in the office because there's a new lens out there that is up to 3 meters long and 150 high. And we're like, okay, we need to start trying that, but it's still very expensive. But somewhere along the line, definitely you will see even far bigger artwork coming out. But A2 at the moment is definitely something that I love printing for everybody. And it's already quite big, right?
Yeah. And what sort of, so people would get a rough idea, what sort of prices do Floops range from like an 8x6 up to like a big poster size print?
They go, so the poster size print goes for roughly 60 euros. And the smaller go for, we have the A5 is 9.99. And then it goes up. So somewhere between 10 euros and 60 euros, you already are the proud owner of quite a big Floop.
And when you think that, you know, there's 60 euros for the big sort of poster size, but it's not a rolled up bit of photo paper. It's on a, you know, it's about 3 millimeters thick, isn't it? And you could literally just mount that onto the wall on a bit of backing, couldn't you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, yeah, there's cool things to do with it in regards to art, or if you also put a frame around it, it actually it enhances the experience of the Floop again. You know, if you put a passepartout, I think is it also called passepartout in UK, or at least the white frame around the your photo. Yeah, so even also with paintings they do it, so it actually enhances the depth, and yeah, you can hang them, you can use them as flyers. There's a lot of things you can do with them. You can I'm definitely always open for people that want to have like their own postcard collection for their hometown, you know, because it's when you go to a tourist board and you want to have your own collection of photos, people tend to buy the luxurious 3D photo if it's there. And normally making a 3D photo would cost you many hours, and the printing wouldn't be done right, and it was an absolute hassle to actually get one photo in 3D. Now it's actually easy to get the photo out, and you will see people, definitely tourists, buy 3D photos of their holiday locations more often than they're doing it with 2D photos, because it's more special. So if there's people out there that want to do like these postcard collection for their hometowns, give me a shout out, because I just love the old snail mail very much in that regard. So actually,
Alan's just said he'd love to talk direct. So funny enough, Alan, this is we're going to be bringing Ranjan on in a second, and this is how Ranjan met with Martin 18 months ago when I was doing something like this. With Floop had very much started, hadn't you? And you approached me on LinkedIn saying you'd love to use me as a sort of vessel to put it forward, and I thought it was fantastic, because I'm always out there trying to help photographers, educate photographers, and look at ways that you can improve and make more money from your business and stand out. And you met Ranjan, who's an Olympus visionary, ambassador for Olympus, world famous wildlife photographer. So how did that journey start from there?
Yeah, well, we had this live show together, and I think it was our first live show. I think we have done this is the third we were doing. So you're definitely following our progress, and this Floop.it really is the newest thing. But Ranjan came on board really quickly after the show. He said this is great. Can you do wildlife photography? And if so, I'm working on this new book. It's yours if you want to publish it. And I was like, we cannot do books yet, but maybe we did. Yeah, now that you're offering it to me, let me try and figure out how to make a book, because of course the lens material is thicker than a normal page. So there was all these things going around in my mind, thinking, I want to do this, but how to do it? And 1.5 years later, we're there. We launched the book, and we're going to show you maybe in a bit.
Shall I? I'll bring Ranjan in so we can
bring him on the show.
All the way from Singapore. It's a little bit late for Ranjan in Singapore. So what is it, about 10 to 10 now, Ranjan?
Yeah, it's about 9:30.
9:30, right? Great.
Yeah, that's very good.
Good to see you. Hi.
Good to see you, Martin. Hi, Jeff.
Hi there. So tell us a little bit about this book, Ranjan. How was and what is it? What is it? Images from all over the world, or is it just from safaris in Africa? Or?
It's basically all this particular book is on Masai Mara. We decided to. I was actually working on a book on Masai Mara, a much bigger book of looking at about 100 to 150 images, and then I got onto the show when I heard the two of you talking, and I just thought, I said, you know what, let's see what we can do with it. And I gave Martin a shout out on the side and asked him, I said, are you interested in doing something in wildlife? And as he said, yeah, sure, why not? Let's give it a shot. So I sent him the images to see what he could do with them. And at that time, I of course couldn't see anything. And the first time I saw a 3D print of mine was in Paris 3-4 weeks ago, when he gave me the first copy of the book.
Oh, right. So you'd never had any.
I had not seen it. Nothing. Wow. I trusted him with it, and I said, you know what? Proof faith. And I gave him the prints. I sent him the prints, and he's done an amazing job. And yeah, the book is basically on Masai Mara. It's my collection of images over the years in the Mara, and he's done a fairly good. It's amazing. He's bound the book. It's like a binder because you can't fold it. Oh, there it is. There it is.
Wow, can you see the depth? Wow, that's so. How many sleeves? How many pages is this? This is fantastic.
It's 40 images. Plus, it's got I've given it a little sort of an introduction to the Masai Mara. A couple of pages of that. Then there's one page on me, and there's one about Floop photography. And
see if I can show it like this. So keep on talking.
Yeah. So basically, he's got gloves in the book so that you don't leave your fingerprints on the pages. And it's very well bound, and the book is heavy. It's almost 3 kilos.
Yeah.
So it's
3.2 actually.
3.2 kilos.
I actually gained some muscle while producing it.
Yeah, I carried it back all the way from Paris in my handbag, so I know with my camera gear, so I know how heavy that was. And I was pleasantly surprised when I was like, I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw what he'd done to those images. It was like it transported me straight back into the Mara. I haven't been there for a year because of COVID, but it took me straight back there. And I told him, I said, you know what? Now I'm at peace. I had this itch of wanting to go, but I've been going there for over 2 decades every year. And the
thing with
this is the first year I haven't been.
Yeah. When I showed this one to Ranjan, it's the first page in the book after the introduction. And of course, my heart was racing because we had been talking about it and we had producing this, but then the moment came that he actually saw his first page in the book, and this is such a strong page when it comes to 3D because there's so much happening there, and there's dust here, and the beasts are jumping into the water, and there's like emotion here, but And the colors almost feel, I said to him, like biblical in the sense that this could be like a Da Vinci painting. And now with the added depth, it's crazy. And he was like, "Wow!" And I was like,
yes, I didn't expect this. When we were first talking, when he was telling me about the types of images to send him for the book, like it shouldn't be too busy, it shouldn't be like that. I said, you know what? To hell with it. This is what I want. Let's see what you can do with it. And I was surprised that he actually pulled it off. Like Actually, you can't see it here, but if anybody gets this book, they'll be able to see it. That there's so much happening in that one image, and each and every one of them, it looks like you're sitting there and watching it in your safari vehicle. It's amazing. He's done an amazing job.
There's my good friend Raymond just popped up there. He's a fellow. Do you know Raymond Ranjan? I think you might do. He's a fellow wildlife photographer, nature photographer, and Raymond does a lot of safari stuff as well.
Oh, okay, amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, it's even the Agama. It was like this. I think he liked this particular image came in because of Martin. I put it in towards the end, and he said, "No, it's an amazing image. You got to put it in." So I brought it in, and it's just amazing. It's fantastic.
It shows the power of the algorithm in regards to that. It can see all the details in the way this tree is being shaped, and everything is so special, and it's such a nice close-up. And the fact that you're now going from a wide shot to a detailed shot, it's such an amazing journey. And Ranjan has all these beautiful photos, like this one, and you can really see between the legs of the lioness. And
I remember this. I remember this one. And when I saw this image, I couldn't believe that little fellow at the back. You could see the difference in distance on the image, which you would normally see with your plain eyes. And so now I'm going to be doing a lot, as we've spoken to Martin about doing one on my tigers out of India, which would be the next in the series of wildlife. So we're looking at doing a book on the tigers of Ranthambore, because I've photographed them also for I would guess about a good 10 to 11 years. So we probably bring all those together and make a book of another 30-40 images. On that.
Fantastic.
I'd love to do it. The thing is also, we're still also surprised by what we get to see, because you see a very cool photo coming into your email box, and you're like, okay, this is a very good shot. I hope the algorithm performs. And then when you get the image back and actually goes through the printer, that is when you think, oh wow, there's also depth there, and oh, this is also a detail that I didn't see before, but it's there. And what Ranjan says, it's that it brought him back to the moment he made the photo. It's the biggest compliment ever, right? It's like we're bringing the action back even more. It's so cool. And with this limited edition that we made, we also are sending out, like, for the first people that bought it, like the bigger prints. And I especially chose this one because it's so sweet, and the depth is you know where to look for the depth, but then after that it becomes depth is everywhere. So
that's one big thing I noticed about obviously having one in the house, and Raymond, my good friend, who's a nature photographer. Raymond, you should go over to Floop.it and try some of the images. And when we finish this live, if you and Ranjan connect, because I think these will get on great. But one thing I've noticed is, that every time I go in the office, there's that image of Charlie looking over my patio at the hills in the background, because there's so much depth, there's so many levels in that photo. And it's not like the other photographs that I've got in this room here on the walls, where you look at them, and with that, you look at it and you keep looking at it, and you're like, oh yeah, I can see that, can't you? It really draws you in, and this is from just like, it's about an A4 one you did for me, so I mentioned A2, you're going to be standing there staring at it all day. It's phenomenal.
It is. I don't know. Once you get a 3D image made, I for one would probably very rarely print on any other material. For my exhibitions I do it on canvas, because we are printing 3 feet by 4 feet, and we need to stretch it and sold as art. But for printing on for smaller, for the walls, for homes, anything up to say A1, A2, I would, or A3, A2, I would 100% go Floop. In fact, I was just thinking, I have a wall in my dining room which has got 8 different tigers on it. So I'm just going to take the measurements of the frames, and I want to send him 8 images. So I'm just going to replace that, because I've lost interest in flat images after this.
Wow. That's awesome.
So out of interest, Ranjan, I mean, you probably haven't because of COVID, and I don't imagine you've done many exhibitions of you. So have you actually done any way of had a 3D print on display for the public to see, or not yet?
Not yet. I've had exhibitions. In fact, there's one happening in Barcelona this October, the World Photo Biennale. I believe they're going ahead with it. So I'm going to be exhibiting there. They're going to be doing some of my work there. I'm going to see what images, if I think they're worth flooping, I'm going to request them to allow me to put floops instead of that. These exhibitions, they want to make sure that all the prints are made on the same paper, the same framing, because it's a biennale, so they want everybody to be equal. But I'm going to request them if they allow me to probably put some floops up. Maybe I'll send 3-4 floops in instead of the regular prints. They may accept it. You never know. Let's see.
So the book, is that just for your own? Is that just like to go in your living room as a coffee table book? It's not. You're not using it to sell or anything like that, or is it just for yourself, your own records?
No. It's an official book. It's so it has the international standard codes.
It's got the ISBN number. It's a book. It's what Martin what he suggested is that what he wanted to do was just created a limited edition collector series of 50 books, which would be signed and certified by Floop Photography, and this would be a one of a kind. And then after which he would continue the series, but there would be a few changes in photographs. This particular series, this particular first 50 books are going to be unique, and the owners are going to be also the advantage is the owners will be having the first artificial intelligence induced 3D book in the world. So that's why what we've done is it's the first book. Only 50 copies are available. After which are signed and which are certified as collectors series. After which the face of the book will change completely to a different face. The cover, everything will change.
And everything about this book is handmade, by the way. So although the depth is calculated in AI, the whole way it is bound. Every photo has gone through either my hand or my partner Ilko's hands to really precisely place the lens on the right thing. And this is really the margin is a quarter of a millimeter actually to do this right. So there's 1 hour of or one book costs us 6 hours to produce, which of course is not that scalable, but because this is such a special project at this stage, we really put the time and the effort in to produce it in this way and make sure that there's no even a tiny fault, or every lens we look at it meticulously just to see what is happening there. And we also learned so much from actually producing this book, which is, I'm so happy that Ranjan reached out and also waited for us to actually perform on it, because it was a journey, and then we had COVID coming along, so we couldn't get some stuff out, and it was quite a big thing for us. And last month when we met in Paris, and I could actually physically give him the copy, saying, "Well, here you go, there it is." That was it was a big thing for us. Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, how much are you going to be selling these books? They must be going out for quite a bit. The amount of work that's gone into them.
Because these books are actually more than a coffee table book. He's marketing it as art, because as the effort that has gone into it, apart from photographing over 5 or 6 years, which I spent doing it, and then each and every book to spend 5-6 hours on creating it, and imagine he's doing 50 of those. So
I can imagine. No, it's good.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, I think the book sells for 350 euros at the site, which and you actually get an extra art.
When you think, being a wedding photographer myself, when you're printing directly onto the pages in 2D photography, in 2D prints, and you've got the aluminium covers and stuff like that, and they're nowhere near as thick as that book, and obviously they're done mass produced by the lab. You're paying as a photographer, you're paying a couple of £100.
Exactly. I think
for an A4 album. So when you said 350 there, I don't think that's expensive at all for especially when it's the only one in the world, isn't it?
It's the first. It's the first.
Yeah,
it's the first in the world. Yeah,
it will be a collector's edition.
Proudly say they own the first copy.
Yeah. And
a couple of questions here. Raymond's asked what size the lion image was. The one that you just printed.
This one. This this is well, let me see I've got so this is A4. Right? So this is A3.
A3.
Yeah.
Right.
A3.
And if you go bigger than that again, don't you? So you go double the size of that.
We can go to twice this size on a normal printer's day, and if you want even bigger, we can do it, but that becomes expensive because we have to modify a whole new printer at a different print location. So then the whole printing process at that company gets delayed. So definitely for art projects, at a certain point, I feel comfortable with it. Or even if we scale bigger, I want one of these printers myself. But at the moment, no, not yet. There's so A2 would be like something that we're comfortable with.
Brilliant. And at the moment, I know you're looking for. I'll put my feelers out for you, haven't I? And I know you're looking for like a contact within the UK to take this on, because one of the big things is that since Brexit, it's made it a little bit more expensive for you to post them out and bring them into the UK. So you're looking for a lab, a photo lab. Do a photo lab have to have anything special in place to do this?
Yes and no. So the best thing is that we need a printer that we either know, but we can modify any printer. And they
modifying is like the software end things. Is that right? Or?
Yeah, to put some extra software on it, and you can still run the original, but we do want a bit of access to the materials so that we can run our algorithms there. Although we actually also modified that, so it's even now more of a business-to-business solution in that, so we can also do it remote and just send you the print files as is. And you need like 2 days of training from us to really know how to print them, and we're also still learning to do some stuff better as well. So we need to have like a cool direct contact to make sure that whatever we are giving the printing company is up to our standards in regards to how we want these 3D photos made. But in itself, it's very scalable, and no, definitely looking for a good printing company that's up in the UK or to help us out on this. We want to scale this bigger. And of course,
are you printing directly onto the lens or on a paper and then mounting that onto the lens? Is that right, Alan? Is that what I'm asking?
Yeah. Well, with Ranjan's book, we refigured out how to do it. So we printed on the paper and then we put the lens over it. So that way we could also have like black backgrounds and have more of a book feeling instead of something that you can put on the wall. So you can either print it on the lens directly, but then you need very precise measurement and a mechanical eye in your printer to put the lens correctly in it. Or we do it, we print it on paper, and then you have more work done by hand to really precisely put the lens over it. So yeah, both ways are fine and are good. And the other thing about it is the thickness of the lens can also change. So for a book, we have a very thin lens.
When you say lens, is that the surface on the photo paper?
Yeah, so the lens is like all these little mountains. So there's like 21 little mountain lenses in 1 square centimeter together.
Right.
And that gives you your eyes the sense of depth. But there's also other lenses out there that have like higher mountains but less mountains on the square centimeter. But the depth that occurs because the lenses are bigger is also bigger. So we could print different kinds of depth experiences, but of course also these lenses are different. So for instance, for the art show of Ranjan, and this is now just coming out of the back of my head, I actually would say, well, maybe we will print on more of a glass-like lens materials, which is just thicker and higher. And this is not just subtle depth, but it really becomes like, whoa, wow, this mountain or this line is like, it's straight out there. It's not subtle anymore. It's really in your face.
Yeah.
There's things we can do with it, but these lenses are far more expensive again than these lenses because and you don't want to waste them because they're just very thick.
I mean, I think for what you print now, from my experience of seeing it, and I think I've had about 3 or 4 images off you, haven't I? I think it's subtle, but it's striking, and it draws you in. I think you don't want it to be, because if it's too in your face, it might be too distracting. It might lose its, it's that subtlety that people go, oh my God, yeah, that's, and that's what I love about a Floop. It's not, it doesn't look false. It's really nice. And Debbie from Loxley's, Loxley's is a lab here in the UK who I work with, and a fantastic lab, one of the biggest and oldest photo labs in the UK. She says they'd be definitely interested in having a discussion with you. So if, after this, if you just hook up with Debbie, and she'll be able to have a chat with you.
Lovely, cool. No, definitely would love to bring Floop to the UK in a more stable basis than being dependent on all the postal services, and then sometimes people waiting 4 weeks to receive their Floops. Shouldn't be the case. That's the whole thing. We should be able to print them anywhere, and definitely get the software out there everywhere as well. The same as the books, right? That's also why we made it an official book. People should be able to order it, and Floop should be, thanks to Ranjan, be a printing company, a publishing company in that respect. And definitely, it's also an open call, an open invitation to all the photographers in your show, or people that are watching this later on. If you think you want to produce a book, or you already have an audience for it, I'm very happy to look at the photos and see what kind of a thing we can do afterwards. Because this experience that we now have with Ranjan, really, I want to have more of it. I said, okay, so now we have one book. It's a coffee table book. So the next thing would be like, I want within a year one bookcase, just one row of books in my bookcase. So that's next year's goal, or this year's goal. And after that, 1 year later, I want to have just a whole bookcase full of 3D books. Every photo I want to see in 3D. It's so magical.
I think it's tremendous. And I think the other, there's so many implications from it. It's if you think like a restaurant, I'm just thinking of, like fast food restaurants, when you go in and they've got the pictures of the burgers and stuff like that. If you had big posters in with that 3D element, and these burgers coming out at you in 3D, I think it'd be, so for product photography, especially when it's not like maybe white background product photography, but scene set product photography, table layout, that sort of stuff. I think it'd be phenomenal for e-commerce, and for showing stuff, like I said, in restaurants, or even on menus. If you had menus printed on that, that'd be phenomenal.
It will get the eyes to the product, and that's of course from marketing perspective what you want. You want people to notice it, and be like, oh wow, this is cool, or oh I saw something. Okay, this is the brand. Cool, move on. But at least they noticed it, and that is I think that is very strong stuff. But also in regards to people having an emotional bond with the product. I think that's just as important, and that's also within the book of Ranjan. Every photo in that, you are like, oh wow! Every page you turn, you're like, oh wow, this is cool, or oh, and I now notice I'd say the nostril hairs of an animal there. It's like, oh, there's so much visual stimulation that makes you happy, or at least
and all of you out there who send pictures to Martin, and he says, I can't do it. Don't believe him, because he does make it happen. I had some zebras, and he said, Ranjan, out of the question, there are too many stripes. I said, no, I want it. And sure enough, he did it. And we found a solution, and he did it.
Yeah, true. No, that's indeed also, that's true. Yeah, the zebra, the zebra effect when you have it on your camera, like everything is moving and there's like black and white. Yeah. In Floop terms, that's even worse, because it's like stripes, but then in 3D, and it's like, whoa, I'm in a whole other universe here. But we did make it work, and it's a photo of two zebras that are like, what are they doing? Are they mating?
No, they're fighting. They're fighting.
It's close together. But yeah, then there was also dust going around in the photo, and it's like, wow, this is so many dimensions. But it did work.
It did work. Eventually, it worked, and it came out beautiful.
Yeah, definitely. But I never make me a zebra book, Ranjan. Please promise me. Definitely 40 zebras.
Alan's just asked, how big a file do the images have to be to send you to actually to print? Is there like a minimum requirement?
I like the 10 megabit files. I think that with those kind of files, I'm already very happy to make floops. If you really want to do like big posters, of course they have to be bigger. But I don't need raw files, for instance, to make a floop. But also don't send me photos that you got from somebody else on WhatsApp, because those are very compiled and so on. So I need good photos. Normal JPEG files for me are good enough.
Cool. And then, so Raymond's just asked, and a few of the people, if you see on this, just down below here, so Floop.it is where you go and you try out, and you can try your to download these GIFs for free. So any images that you want to just try and see what they would look like, you can go on, you can upload it, you can see what the depth would be like. The movement that you'll see on the GIF shows you how much depth is going to be in the image when it's printed, and then you can download that, use that on your social media, put it onto Facebook, that sort of stuff. From that Floop.it, can you go direct to the website and then order stuff, or is it a different web address?
No, when you see the Floop being made, so you see the GIF. There's like an order button there saying, okay, what size of would you like to buy one? Of course, yeah, we would love to buy one, or at least buy one from us. So, and then you can order it. There's only you need to then re-upload the photo, because for the GIF we are using a very low extension of the photo to give back to you. So then in the order process you need to re-upload it in the bigger format. We just did that for the convenience, because we feel that most people at the moment are still trying it out, and we want to give the photo back as quick as possible in regards to the GIF. So if you're ordering one, re-upload the photo, and we're going to make the big calculations there. And these 3D renders are done in a few seconds. But when you send us the photo, our computer actually starts to really crunch it for the print. So that can sometimes take up to 10 minutes or half an hour or whatever. It's just done in the background, and we just leave it be there until it has figured out the best depth for the print file. So that's the whole distinction between this thing. There's a lot of mathematics going on in the background here. And other thing that you can do, by the way, is that if you use your right mouse click, you can also download it as an MP4. So not only a GIF, but you can also download MP4s. And of course, Jeff, because you're the big master on LinkedIn, there's one thing. If you use the LinkedIn browser and you go to Floop.it, it's the browser within the LinkedIn app. It doesn't actually allow GIFs to be sent back. So when you can upload the photo, but it doesn't give the GIF back. So I once tried it, and it's like, why doesn't it work? Why am I not seeing my GIFs? That's because LinkedIn somehow doesn't like GIFs as much as we do.
And that's even as an MP4 file, is it?
Yeah, just download it on your phone, and you'll be good. You'll find it somewhere in your phone book or in your download files. So it is there, but it doesn't visually give it back within the LinkedIn environment.
But does it what about Facebook? Have you tried does it work on Facebook and Instagram?
On the computer it does. And on Instagram you can definitely upload the GIFs, but it doesn't, or the MP4 is far better and far more forgiving in that respect than GIF on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram. So download it as a video, helps you for your socials. And
tag in Floop as well if you're gonna use it. Tag in Martin. Get him some publicity. Yeah,
sure. Everywhere. Just tag us in. We will then reshare and do your photos justice for sure. I love to see all these cool photos and hear about all the adventures, because in the end, I'm here for the technology, but I'm a journalist by I'd say it by heart. So every story that is behind those photos makes me want to also tell that story, and just happy to engage in that. And that's also why I think, well, I like what Ranjan did, is that these stories are the animals in these stories or the animals already are telling such great stories in themselves, and yeah, you wish you were next to him when he was making the photographs, or we of course also talked to other photographers that we made floops for, and also their stories are mind blowing, and keep feeding me stories. That's
be the first in your niche to get a book together, of your imagery, whether it be weddings, whether it be wildlife or product photography, I think it's absolutely fantastic, and I think there's so much we can use from the publicity of doing this to spread the word, like with Ranjan, like maybe contacting people like the World Wildlife Fund and places like that to make them aware of these beautiful images. And I look forward to hearing. You have to come back on, Ranjan. Let us know how it goes when you do your first exhibitions again, when things start kicking off, and if you do any displays using Floop, it would be really, really interesting to hear the feedback from the customers, the people who come along to the exhibition.
Sure, I would do that. I'm going to try and see if I can get this on in Barcelona at least this October. I'm going to call him tomorrow and talk to him and see if he'd agree. And at least 3 to 4 images, if he accepts, they'll be unique. You're going to have about 40 images or 50 images on paper, and then you'll have these 4 floops in the middle. So it'll be unique.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Would love it. Would love it cool.
Yeah. And I think I am. As soon as we come off, I know Alan's got quite a few questions, and I think the better off answer just direct with you, because he's what type of photography is it you do, Alan? Alan's asking. He just says he just did a render at 300 dpi. Let's have a look. I'm just going to move that banner, and I'll bring in the comments so you can see Alan's comments.
That's really cool. An NFT. Okay, yeah, we're looking into NFT also in regards to if we can do anything with it. I'm still puzzled about how to really do it. Render stereo pair. Will that work for you? I don't need the stereo pair because we will make our own stereos. You can upload them, or you actually send me a stereo file, and we will work from there. So it does help, but it's actually even better for training the algorithm. So that helps, but it isn't necessary in that respect. Brilliant. Animal shelters, okay, cool.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Macro might be interesting, especially with insects and stuff like that, especially with really colourful insects like dragonflies and stuff. I think that'd be fascinating.
Works really, really cool with macro because it has the same sensation in regards to the blur around it that helps it, and the dragonflies for sure. Yeah. I did a butterfly, 2 butterflies for the mother of a friend of mine. And she has them really in the hallway when you come in, because she just loves butterflies. And when she got these photos, she was like, "Whoa, this is so cool!" So they got like this honorary space in her hallway. When you come into the house, it's like, well done, well done me.
It's fantastic.
It's so cool.
But I think you've got some really interested people there. Obviously, we'll pick up on the comments when we come up here. And Ranjan, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. It's nice to meet you finally virtually in person. I know we've spoke for over the past couple of years, haven't we, on LinkedIn, and liked each other's comments and posts and that. And it's a pleasure meeting you, because I really admire your work, and like you, I'm a huge fan of the Masai Mara. I just can't wait to get back to Africa and do another safari again.
Tell me about it. Yeah. Thank you for having me on, and I'll probably end up going there this October, November. Let's see if Singapore stops this quarantine business, then I'll probably go down for a couple of weeks. But otherwise, it's going to be next July. Yeah.
I'll be jealous if you're there in October. And there's just one, Peter's just asked a quick question. There is no option for MP4 for me. How do you get that?
Just use your secondary function on your mouse, download as video, and you get an MP4 file. And it's good that you're mentioning it, because otherwise we will somewhere along the line also make a button for it, just download as MP4 as download as GIF. But you can now already do it as a secondary function. So just click download this video.
And Alan says, let's do a Zoom after this. So if you connect with Alan, Alan's LinkedIn handle there. And Raymond and Ranjan, this is Raymond. So this is his LinkedIn if you just connect with each other, and I'm sure you'll be talking wildlife for the rest of the day.
We will do
And
that.
Raymond's a lovely bloke. I've known Raymond for a couple of years now on LinkedIn. Absolutely fantastic bloke. So thanks again, guys. It's an absolute pleasure doing this.
Likewise, Jeff. Thanks so much. Love to be on the show and all the good work that you're doing for the community. It's awesome. It's really awesome.
It's really awesome. It is.
And Ranjan, next time, either we see each other in the Masai Mara, or in Paris, or in Singapore, or somewhere else. So
you're going to see my daughter probably in Amsterdam.
Yeah, also. Well, that's also good. Yeah, that will also be awesome. I'll need to text her for that for sure. Cool.
Cheers, thanks, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. Bye.